Okay, so we build from there. Now we want to move even further into complexity to see how narratives are altered and co-opted. But we do want to see what happens when ultimately the narrative returns to the storyteller, to that person who should own their own story. So in this case, by the time we arrive at the last exercise, we do want the ownership to return back to the storyteller. So Carrie, I'm going to ask you to recite as much of that story out loud before we head into the final exercise.
So I guess it started it was my brother's 18th birthday, and it was like him and my other older brother and my brother's girlfriend. I think I had just woke up from like a nap or something, and I don't know, it was just, I don't know, so in the midst of me like waking up or whatever, and they basically, I don't remember what exactly my older brother had said to me, but he was just really aggressive to me. And like next thing I know, he started like attacking me in like a way. And he was just saying like, oh, you won't be gay around here, you won't be this, you won't be that, or whatever. And I was just like, leave me alone. Like I was just asking him to leave me alone and things like that. And then my other brother, he like pushed me onto my other brother's bed, and then my other brother like joined in with like the arrangement of the shits. And his girlfriend was like, chill out, y'all stop. And then I don't know what had happened, but I ended up getting away from him, and I ran out the room door, and when I ran out the room door, I was like calling my mom, and she like ignored me, like literally ignored me. And then my brother like pulled me back into the room, like closed the door and started like choking me and shit like that. So, it was like, I don't even want to talk about it, I can't talk about it, but yeah, that was it.
That's enough. Yeah. Thank you. So, we have much more information now. Carrie, I'm going to ask you to leave the room, and I'm going to give you a set of instructions of what to do when you return to the room. Okay? What we're going to do, now that Carrie has exited and we have much more information regarding the narrative, is spontaneously, without communication, build out the scene more accurately to what we perceive to be true, to what we believe that portrayal would have looked like. Without any communication, without any verbal communication. And if we fill the same role mistakenly, that's not to worry. If it results in something abstract, that's also nothing to worry. No.
Like I'm saying,
we can add to one another, but not make adjustments. Okay, so we're going to spontaneously, all at once, fill out that scene. Okay, now that we have it lodged in our minds, I'll be right back. I'm going to give Carrie some instructions as to what he's going to do upon returning.
So should we already start?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. You're going to see the scene, a portrayal in front of you of the story, a story in which we now know for the first time. We're creating an image based on information that we've actually given to us for the first time. And what I'd like you to do is two things. Take your time, enter the room, observe all the information that's in front of you. Make any changes or modifications that you wish, moving it closer to the narrative. And then finally, insert yourself back into the story in some way. And then freeze. Okay. Carrie has his instructions. Carrie has his instructions. When I count to 3, we're going to build out that scene without any verbal communication. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Freeze. Carrie, come on in.
Stay up.
Okay. There are some major adjustments here. There's a variation in his story of escape, and he's placed us in very specific positions. Without moving too much, try to take in as much information as possible. Let's get back into the circle and discuss what happened. Even with having heard the narrative, changes were made. Carrie made decisions. Before I get to the decisions that went through your head, what did you all feel in the modifications? What did you choose to do first, and what did you feel and understand once you were changed? Anyone?
I grabbed your ankle, like if I was pulling you by your ankle. I felt as if I was the brother or one of the brothers, you know, trying to grab you and pull you in while you was gonna go, you know, snitch to mom. And the adjustment that he made was, instead of me grabbing your ankle, I was more reaching for you in the shoulder area. So that was the adjustment, and that meant for me, like, I wasn't trying to just pull you in, I was trying to grab you, so that, like, brought out a whole different type of meaning.
Much more aggression, much more intentionality. This wasn't a game.
Yeah, and for my adjustment, when I first started, I thought I was the sister breaking you two apart, like, cause he said that she tried to break it up and say, stop, don't do that. But then when he fixed it, when he modified it, I noticed that she wasn't even trying to, like, break it up. She was just watching it, yeah. And I was like, wow, that changed the whole story and like the way I thought about the story. I was like, okay, so it's just plain, like, nobody's trying to help him at all.
Right. And Saint?
Yeah, when he finally told us the story, like, one of the things that had stuck out to me was him being pulled back in and getting the door closed on him. So I made the choice to close the door, and then I was changed to, I would think, be the mother. And I could totally understand that change and how significant that isolation is from the person that he was trying to get to.
I mean, clearly that role was important.
Yeah.
And even while actualizing what we've heard, we miss a very important role, an integral piece of that narrative, which was that person not only on the outside of the room, but the person ignoring the situation. And even though we couldn't further the narrative, we still needed that piece, clearly. So let me go to you, Kerry. And what were the decisions that went through your mind in modifying the scene?
Yeah, so it's like, for me, I relive this moment all the time, so it's like, it's nothing new for me, so it's just like, I don't know, it's like a play to me sometimes, just like always coming in and always revising my own play. So I just came in and we modified the way it should look, and just really how it should exactly look. And even though, like, when I came in, I was lost. I didn't know what the fuck, I didn't know what you guys were doing. I was just like, well, what the hell is going on? I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't even know that was what you guys are playing your own part. So yeah, I just came in and I just corrected the story. It's best. So I don't know.
And why did you feel it was necessary to reinsert yourself in that role, in yourself and inhabiting yourself?
So it's like I still have the emotion in there, the feeling, and the feeling of, I'm not over that, so I think, I always place myself in that just to remind myself, like, it's still there, and you need to feel it, and you need to get over it, so it's just like, I always have to place myself back in there. And also, as I said, nobody else tells your story better than you can tell it, or has a feeling on the face, like, just looks how you would look at that time, so I feel like, yeah, I have to place myself back in that story.
No one else can capture it the way that you might be able to. And I think what's important in hearing even the slight adjustments is that even in hearing the narrative, there's no one else that can recall it, portray it, or tell the story as well, as truthfully, as accurately, as intensely as the individual. So bringing it back to wrap it all into the 4-week cycle, Saint, why is it that we end with this particular exercise?
Because it's important to be able to revisit your experiences, especially like the traumatizing ones, because there's a certain power that stories can have over someone, and that's seen through every single exercise we've done. But I feel like the power that a story has over you can be changed into the power that you have over that story. The power that you have to learn from it. The power that you have to carry yourself on in the world and make sure that that doesn't happen again. Or that if it does, then you know how to be in that moment.
How to handle
I
the
would feel.
situation.
Yeah.
That's right. And if you rely on someone else to sort of go back to all of your points, if you continuously to allow someone else to frame that story, or to even use language that describes your experience, particularly the media or the justice system, then you're abandoning the possibility of really taking hold of something that is only your own. Because with those various perspectives, with that different language, with the ways in which someone might not only portray, but tell your story, you're giving away the power. And it's not just in the telling, it's in the ways in which that we might re-inhabit our own memory and those lessons learned, those ways that we might tell ourselves to move differently through life, to navigate the world just that much more differently, that steals some of that power back. It's not just in the narrative, it is in how we move and how we choose to move from that traumatic experience moving forward.
And I feel like also like doesn't you don't you think it's like it's like your truth also is like your truth. Say for instance, so you lie so much that that lie becomes a true. And it's like so if you have someone like if you someone that keeps going to jail in and out of jail, your truth basically becomes what the judge is saying all the time. So you go to court all the time. You always say you're a criminal, you're a fed. I mean you're a felony. It's like so you keep allowing people to change your truth, your story, because you're not allowing yourself to change or portray that. That actually becomes your truth now. This lie it's now pasted upon you is now your truth now. You can't run away from it. So it's like that's another reason why I feel like we do this.
It's a vicious cycle when you're starting to perform someone else's narrative, someone that the language and images that have been placed onto your body. And it's not until you can really take a hold of that traumatic experience for yourself that you can start to move from it differently, not prescribed by someone else.